Hey everyone, welcome to GameFace episode 200, the landmark episode from Sifted Games at SIFTD.net. It is a big deal for us to have episode 200 today. It's not just a landmark episode for GameFace though, it's also a landmark day for Sifted. So at 1 o'clock, the switch was flipped. Sifted 2.0 is live right now.
I can see it.
Yep. Some of you guys, our stream started a little late today, and you guys got the alert, so some of you guys are already over looking at it. And I'm going to walk you guys through all of the big changes, all the new functionality, the stuff that's there now, the stuff that's going to be coming very shortly. Bottom line is Brent did an amazing job on the site. He and I were both burning the midnight oil last night until the last minute to get this stuff done. Somehow we did. And I'm really, really excited to show it to you guys. But before we do that, I actually have a big surprise to share with you guys. We have a new member of the GameFace crew, and his name is Mitch Sikorsky. Mitch, welcome to GameFace.
Thanks so much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, you may recognize Mitch. He is a part of the Sifted community. He's been a part since we first launched. He started working on a bunch of podcasts on our community podcasts on the site, and he decided to move out to LA. And when he did that, he was like, "Hey, it'd be cool if I could work with you guys when I'm not doing my other gig." And I was like, "Yep, come on out." So he's actually been here for about a month and a half. Mm-hmm. Yeah, working on stuff behind the scenes. But he is going to be a permanent part of the crew, both on GameFace and with some of the other content that we're doing. Mitch, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
So I was born and raised in Wisconsin, spent the last 10 years in Minnesota working with kids and adults with disabilities, and I just decided to fly out here and, try everything out. One thing I do want to say is thank you, first off, to both you, Shane, and Matt. I have known of you guys for a long, long time, since I was in middle school. And so, when you meet the people that you grow up with as heroes and,
you might be a little kind. Well, heroes, I don't know about that. You might want to reserve that for people who are in the military.
Well, it's just, I look up to you guys, and to have you not disappoint in any capacity is just
wait till you get to know me a little better, Mitch.
Well, you also are taller in person, a lot taller than I expected.
Funny. So anyway, that's Mitch. He is going to be our new TriCaster TD on GameFace. He's also working on a bunch of other content with us. In fact, while you guys are here on the stream, we just launched 2 brand new shows over at SIFTD.net. Don't leave to go watch them. They're going to be there. I'm also going to walk you guys through them and talk about them and get you guys up to speed on some of the new content coming to the site. But the first thing I want to do is I want to demo SIFTD.net 2.0 and kind of show stuff to you guys. You guys can obviously poke around on your own, but I think watching this, it'll help you guys basically speed up your process of learning the new stuff at Sifted. So here we go. Let's take a look at Sifted 2.0. And Mitch, can you bring down that lower third so people can see the site? All right, so there's a lot to go over. I'm going to try to give you guys a crib notes version. Some of the stuff you'll discover on your own. But obviously, what a change. It doesn't even look like the same website anymore. Probably the first thing that you'll notice is that big carousel that used to be at the top of the page that would promote a lot of our original content. It is gone. And it has been replaced with a brand new module. And you can see here, the 3 here on the left, this is all for our original content. So the last 3 pieces of original content we've published will be here. And then here on this side, this is all hot stuff. This is stuff that you guys are commenting on. These are the hottest pieces of curated content on the site. And I wanted to get that stuff front and center to generate more conversation. And I think another thing too is because everyone's Sift is different on Sifted, that it's hard to get people all in one place at one time. A story that's important to me will be at the top of my Sift, but it may be at the very bottom of Matt's Sift.
Especially if it's Call of Duty.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a good point. So we wanted to get some of the hot content front and center to you guys. And for people who honestly who are just trying out the site for the first time, are like, where is everybody? There are tons of people on SIFTD, but a lot of times they're off in different corners of the website. So we wanted to provide these 4 stories up top to show you what's really happening in the industry and to get you engaged with our community. So another thing you may notice, and I kind of wish I still had the old site here to show you the old and the new, although I'm sure you remember it well. The way it used to work is after we had our carousel at the top, we had a channel nav in the middle of the page. And basically what it let you do is sift the SIFT by a number of different topics. So the site still has that, but we've created what's now called a search bar. And you can see that across here. And it's not in the middle of the page anymore. It's at the top of the page. So the site works the same. You go and you set up your SIFT ratings. I mean, that hasn't changed at all. And we like this interface, and we've kept it the same. And all the categories are the same. Even after we've, went through it all, we did a really good job, actually, making sure that we future-proof the site with all the categories. So all this stuff is the same. If you like your SIFT ratings, you can leave them where they are. The site's going to function exactly as it did before. However, when you're on this page, you can basically filter this page by anything. And another thing I want to show you guys is that we now have platform pages for everything. Every specific platform now has its own page. So every Microsoft console has its own page. Every Nintendo console has its own page. Every Sony, PC has Mac and Linux underneath it. Every handheld, mobile, VR. We've actually added Oculus Vive, PlayStation VR channels, and then all the retro stuff. All of these now have their own channels. Before, anything PlayStation related was just on the Sony channel. So now you can get a lot more granular with that. So anyway, when you're here in the search bar, you can basically start filtering the homepage SIFT by whatever you want. So let's see, let's go platform, Sony, PlayStation 5. And it'll start sifting through. And I might add, we are now at 87,000 pieces of hand-curated content. So every time that you see me add something to this, it is sorting through 90,000 pieces of content to deliver the result. So you can see we sorted by PlayStation 5. Not a ton of news because it hasn't launched yet. But actually, if you're on SIFTD, there is a good bit of news. So you have it on PlayStation 5. Probably a better way to show this is to use a more common platform that'll have a lot of content. So let's just go platform, Sony, PS4. All right, so here's PS4, which used to just be our Sony channel, but now everything's all split up. So once you're on this page for PlayStation 4, and oh, look, there's our brand new show, SIFTD HQ, that just launched today. Once you're on this PlayStation 4 page, you can keep adding filters to cut down the SIFT and get more granular and get the actual information that you want. So let's just say PlayStation 4. Let's see cultural stories around PlayStation 4. So then it starts sorting all that stuff down by PlayStation 4 and culture, and you can just keep going. So you can remove that, it goes back, or you can also use this clear button at the end of the search bar here. So you can basically, and you can see the verbiage by the search bar changes. So when you're on the home page and you're just using your SIFT ratings, it says My SIFT. Once you start building the pages by hand, then that verbiage changes to My Build. Now for the rest of the sorting stuff, from here you can choose popular or newest, which basically is just chronological. And then we have our time sorting here, days, weekly, and monthly. And then here's the clear button that clears it all out so you can start again. And I'll just click that to show you that it takes you back to My SIFT. Another thing that we've added is search. We've had search all along, but we didn't have a search that would search site-wide. It basically just searched titles and publishers and things like that. Now the search goes site-wide. It searches descriptions, it searches clip title, everything. So it's way better than it was before. And let's just search for Halo Infinite. So before, we didn't even have a search results page. So it's a huge difference that we have a search results page at all. Once you get here, you can sort it again by games. And obviously, if you just want to check out the game page for Halo Infinite, there it is. Or if you want to check out the content that we have curated so far for Halo Infinite. And then once you're here, you can start doing the same thing that you did before. You can start chopping this down by different parameters to get to what you really want. Let's check out some game pages. So let's go to Halo Infinite's game page. So we changed the game pages. They look pretty much the same. There are some slight cosmetic changes that are coming in the near future, but we haven't got to those yet. But we have redone the game pages. Obviously, the channel nav that was there before is replaced once again by the search bar. However, we now have all these options underneath. And they are placed in order of your SIFT preferences. So for me personally, I like features, I like opinion, trailers, culture, hardware, and previews. Those are the things I like. Yours is going to be different for every game page, depending on your SIFT ratings. And again, once you're on this page, you can sort all this stuff by pretty much every channel on the site, by 60 different channels. All right, let's head back to the home page. And I think one thing I want to make clear is that the base functionality of SIFTD is the same. We're still sifting content for you guys. There's just a million different ways to do it than you had before. Here's another show that we just launched today that I'll get to called Spoiled. So we launched 2 brand new shows today. You can see we launched 2 episodes of Spoiled and 1 episode of SIFTD HQ. So the biggest change for the SIFT is that it's 3 columns. And once we've changed to this, I don't know why we ever did 2 columns. As soon as I saw this, I was like, why did we ever do 2 columns? It accomplishes so much. So all along, we've had this color coding on the site that people probably never noticed because you could only see 2 pieces of content at any given time on your screen. Now that you can actually see several modules at once, content modules at once, you can start to see the color coding. See all the orange for trailers. Reviews are red. Industry's deep red. Gameplay is like a fuchsia. Previews are blue. You can really start to see the color coding. The other thing I like about the 3 columns is everything is staggered now. It's not kind of this very rigid grid type structure to the website anymore. And the other part of it too is that you can just scan much more quickly to see if there's content that you actually care about. And it's just a better experience overall for our users. And that's probably the biggest thing that we wanted to do when we redesigned SIFTD for SIFTD 2.0 is to take out a lot of the stumbling blocks that people were having and take a lot of the requests, honestly, that people were giving us and try to incorporate as many as we could. Let's see. Platform pages work very much like, and you can also reach every channel up here as well, by the way, in the header. And platform pages still work pretty much like they did before, like the other pages we were showing you. So we'll go to the PlayStation 4 page. And once you get here, you can basically just start sorting. You can even, here's the other thing that's really cool, is that the search, when you go away from the home page, the search works on a page-by-page basis. So right now we're on the PlayStation 4 page. If we use this search feature up here, it's only going to search PlayStation 4 content and return PlayStation 4 results. So the search has also been set up to go on a page-by-page, publication-by-publication basis. Again, just better functionality for everyone. Let's see. Some smaller stuff that we've added. The avatar drop-down. We didn't really redesign it. Well, we did a little bit so that it would fit in the header. And obviously, those bumps that we had in our header are now gone, and it's just straight across. But basically, the links that we have included in the drop-down are the stuff that you guys have been using the most. And previously, there were some things in there that maybe you never touched. So we made sure that we moved everything that was really, really important into this. And I don't have any messages right now, but if I did have messages, that would also be here because obviously that's one of the more important features you want from that drop-down. Here's something else that we've added for the site. There are 4 different background colors now. You can choose white, and I'll just show you guys these all really quickly. You can choose a light gray. You can choose a dark gray, and this is what I tend to use, and this is also what the site defaults to now. So if you don't like it, you're going to have to go over here under your avatar and change it. And then there's black. And this is actually what we've been developing the site on all along. I think it was good because it made us look at the various elements of the site to make sure that the coloring was right and accurate so you could still read it. And this is what Brent, the site architect, chooses to use as well. So I do want to push a vote towards using the black version of SIFTD if you want. Another small tweak that's probably important to a lot of people is that we just added date stamps to the modules. I don't know why we didn't do it initially. It's one of those things where in hindsight, you're like, that was kind of dumb to not do that. But now they're there. We still do have like the date breaks in the SIFT. And there are some pages where they are taken away because they don't make sense. But for most of the big pages where there's a lot of curated content going into them, there are still day breaks. But it's very handy to be able to see when we curated something as far as just using the site overall. So that's the big functionality that launched today. That's top line stuff. And as you guys start digging around, you'll start seeing a lot of other stuff that I'm not going to talk about here and sort of drag this on for like an hour or whatever. We have a bunch of other content coming as well. And Mitch, you can go back to the camera now. We have a bunch of other stuff coming as well in the near future. I'm just going to run through it very quickly just so you know what's coming. I'm not going to promise the dates for this stuff. Brent and I have basically killed ourselves getting this stuff done. So I think both of us probably want to take a day or two to take a breath. I'm basically on my last rope right now because I have not slept for a really long time. But here's some stuff that's coming in the very near future. Game eval scores are going to default to my score. So right now, if you read one of our game evals, the score that you're seeing at the bottom is the average of the component scores that we've given to that particular game. You're going to see your personalized review score there going forward. It just makes sense. That's the whole purpose of game evals in the system that we set up. We used to have you guys going to the game page to see your personalized score. Instead, you're going to have to go to the game page to see the average score. Your personalized score will be what is displayed by default. I'll get to content in a second, but we are going to start doing a lot more audio-based content. In fact, one of the shows that we just launched today, Spoiled, is audio only. There's a thumbnail, and there's a video version there, but it's audio only. And we're going to be doing some new stuff. We have a couple other things that we're working on for audio only. And so we're going to be launching a brand new podcast feed called SIFTD Radio. There will be new stuff in there. There will be Spoiled in there. Anything that we decide to do that's audio only will be going in there. And it just opens up a whole avenue for us to create content for you guys. That's easier, lower hanging fruit. I see some Patreons that are just all audio podcasts. Mm-hmm. So people are far more accepting of it, and it's something that we've kind of missed and something I want to bring into the fold for SIFTD. There will be a stream alert in the header of SIFTD. I think that one will probably be here for next week's GameFace. So it'll let you know if we're streaming live. It'll be a little thing probably on the right-hand side, like a little antenna or whatever that'll light up to let you know that we're streaming live. That we don't have to worry about going and checking out like the big massive carousel to know if we're live or not. There's going to be a promotional slot in the header where we can promote stuff like we're launching SIFTD 2.0 today. Once we get that up there, we will have an about article for SIFTD 2.0 explaining all the changes, and that will be up in there. There are going to be ads for basic users. We have fought this for literally 5 years. We have operated 5 years ad-free. But there's just no rationale for us anymore to not run ads for people who aren't willing to help us out. So we are going to be running ads on SIFTD going forward for basic users, people who aren't patrons or who are not subscribers. The ads are not going to be obtrusive. What we're basically looking at doing is replacing a content module with an ad like once every 15 or 20 modules. So there's not going to be pop-ups, there's not going to be eye blasters, there's not going to be screen takeovers, any of that stuff. We're basically just going to replace some of the content modules with ad placements. We need revenue. And I'm sorry if this angers anybody, but it's just worked out to the point where we need every revenue stream we can get. And if people aren't willing to at least chip in $1, and look, if you're even a patron at $1 a month, you will get it ad-free. But if people aren't willing to chip in $1 a month for an ad-free experience, then they can watch some freaking ads, and that's what's going to happen. So, let's see. Forums are getting traditional pagination. Right now, we have it's kind of a cool feature in our forums. It's a futuristic kind of navigation for forums, and it was kind of bleeding edge when we launched them. But in all honesty, they just haven't worked the way I hoped that they would. They're a little janky. So we're just going to traditional pagination in our forums. We haven't decided yet on how many posts will be displayed before the page flips. If you have any ideas on that, let us know. I'm leaning towards like 100, but we'll see how that works out. More intuitive block and follow functionality for publications and games. Right now, you can block a publication, you can follow a game, you can things like that are on the pages, but they're not very obvious and they're kind of hard to see. So we're working on the interface for that to make it more intuitive and more obvious. Landing pages. We have landing pages. Actually, you can go back to the site now, Mitch. We have landing pages for all our shows. Look at this. GameFace has its own page. And that's all that's there is just GameFace. We have one for Pactor Factor. We have one for every show that we do. And this is something people have requested for a really, really long time. And even for our brand new shows that we just launched, Spoiled, there's the 2 episodes of that. SIFTD HQ, there's the 1 episode of that, Season 1, Episode 1. This is a feature that people have been asking for a long time. The other thing, too, is that the Game Evals page, when it goes live, we will, well, it's live now, but eventually it's going to have sorting options. So you'll be able to sort it by score, by platform, and a few other parameters. Right now, we just have the landing page for them. We don't have the sorting in there yet, but that stuff is coming. And then if you want to go to our old school content page that shows everything, you can just click the very bottom link here, and it'll take you to our old collection of everything, if that's what you prefer to use, and if that's what you've been using all this time. Just looking at the site, though, the three columns just makes a world of difference. It makes it look like a completely different site. So let's see, what else do we have? A couple smaller tweaks. We're going to create a page for all your followed games. We realize right now you guys are following games, and then you're getting that stuff in your SIFT, but you can't really go back and manage them. You have to go back to the game page and then unclick follow. We're going to have a landing page for all the games that you follow, so you can just go there and just unfollow them if you want to, instead of having to physically go back to the game page to follow it. The new content notification, for those of you guys who use like a raw feed and don't sift it, it's just the chronological feed. If you leave the homepage and come back, and some people may not even know that this happens because they just use a sift, but if you don't and you just use a raw feed, when you come back, there's an alert that tells you that there's new content. There's been some snafus with how that's worked in the past. We're fixing that, and I know some people have mentioned that in the past. I brought up the game page cosmetic tweaks that are coming. I'm not going to spoil that. I'll let you know whenever those go live. And then the last tweak that we're making is the ability to get back to a notifications page after you've checked them. Because the way it's set up right now is once you've checked your notifications and you don't have any more, it's hard to get back to that page. So lots of quality of life updates, complete overhaul of the site's functionality. I think a complete overhaul of the site's look. I am very, very happy with SIFTD 2.0. It has been a nightmare. I'm not going to lie. It has been awful getting this done because I have to do all this stuff while still keeping people happy with content. So it's been awful, but it's worth it. Now that it's here and it's live, to me, it's absolutely worth it. So I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are too. We're going to start putting marketing money behind the site. And so if you see our ads and stuff like that out there, it'd be awesome if you could like them or whatever. We're going to be advertising on social media, Facebook, Twitter, all those places, trying to drive people to SIFTD. I very comfortably will declare right now that SIFTD is the most advanced gaming website in the world. And I will take a challenge from anybody who says that it's not.
Come at us, Polygon.
Seriously, anybody, come at us. I want to see it.
What you got, Gilbert?
Because I want to, if someone really thinks they have a better gaming website than this one, I want to see it. I want to use it. So we'll see. But I am very happy with this. In a lot of ways, I wish this is what the site was when we launched. I think things would be very, very different right now if that were the case. But when you're working with a limited budget, you make sacrifices along the way. And we had to launch the site eventually. But I'm glad that we finally got to this place. I am over the moon over SIFTD 2.0. Again, I want to thank Brent. He and I both basically pulled all-nighters last night getting all this stuff ready. I was getting the show's stuff done. He was getting the site stuff done. We were texting back and forth, emailing until really late at night. And I just want to thank him for going the extra mile to get this stuff set up and ready to go for today. Any comments, Matt, on what you're seeing?
It looks really nice.
What color?
I haven't actually seen any of this before. To be
No one
clear.
has.
Yeah. I would probably go gray. Black is a little dark.
Light gray or the dark gray?
The dark gray.
Yeah, that's what I use actually.
It's just a little. There's a little. I think it looks good behind the white text a little better.
Yep. It's all up to
A
preference.
little less contrast for the old eyes.
Yeah, some people hate white. Some people love white.
I like the changes to all the different platform things and just adding the ability to change content from the game page. Like, I wanted a lot of those things just when I was going through content for like Game of the Year shows, like trying to like remember what came out or remember what this was or what was that. The date, I never even thought about the date being on there before, but yeah, why isn't that there? Like that doesn't even make any sense. What the hell?
It never was, yeah.
The one-ups are gone?
No, they're there. So you're just looking at the top module right now.
So you have to go in. Oh, there they are.
But you know what? You just helped us because Brent and I were waffling on how big of a space we needed in between the top module and the SIFT to make sure people understood where the SIFT started. And it looks like we need more space.
Yeah, I'd say a little more space than that.
So I think what your eyes are doing is that it's all bleeding together for you. And again, like in the comments of this show, let us have it. Like if you find bugs, if you have a feature that you don't think works the way it should, or if you just don't like something that we did, let us know. If you like it, please let us know. People don't share positive vibes on the internet enough. So it would be great if you actually like everything that we've done, if you could congratulate us on all the hard work, especially Brent, who has really been grinding for like the last week and a half to get all this stuff done. All right, let's talk a little bit about content. Obviously, you've seen 2 new shows that launched today, Spoiled and Sifted HQ. The tenets that we're kind of going with for our content going forward, there's 2 things. More audio-based content and more cultural-based content. So obviously Spoiled is an audio-only thing, but also one of the episodes are for a TV show and a movie. So we're starting to expand what we're covering on Sifted into entertainment, basically TV and films for the most part. Sifted HQ, which is the other show that we launched today, it's a variety show, and it's going to be different every single time. There are a few segments in there. They're going to be recurring and will show up in most episodes. But we have a floating collection of like 10 different segments that will swap in and out as needed for each episode. But there is also cultural related content in Sifted HQ. So we'll go through like the album releases for the week, the new shows that are coming out on Netflix or on TV for the week, new films that are coming out that week. So we're broadening our horizons to cover more than just games, but don't think that we're slipping on the games because we have plans for that stuff too. The first thing I want to share that may upset some people, it may make some people really, really happy, is that GameFace is changing. And don't use this episode as an example of that because we had a bunch of other stuff that was supposed to happen today that didn't. And when it didn't, I was glad that I had prepared a contingency plan so we could still do the show for you guys. So I think next week you're going to see a drastic change in the show. But the one thing I do want to share with you right now about what's happening is that GameFace is going to become shorter. It's currently 3 to 3.5 hours long. And I know a lot of people are like, what? No, we get all that content. Wait a second. So GameFace proper is going to be shorter. It's going to be an hour to an hour and a half long every week. And it's just more easily digestible for the average person. I know some of you guys like our really long conversations about games, and that's not going away. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep things tight in GameFace. Think Invisible Walls. We did Invisible Walls for like 5 years, and the show was never over an hour and a half long, and people loved it. So the show is going to be tighter. Matt and I are going to have to be a little better prepared to talk about each game inside GameFace itself, but we're also still recording those really deep conversations that Matt and I have about specific games. They're just going to be broken out separately as a brand new show called Deep Dive. And Deep Dive is going to be so much better than what you're used to getting from GameFace. One, because GameFace is 720p. Deep Dives are going to be 1080p with really high quality footage. The footage is going to be cut more closely to the conversation. The B-roll isn't going to be kind of a general chunk that's just rolling over the conversation. We're actually going to cut to the conversation. We're taking what a lot of people think is the best part of GameFace, and we're pumping it up with steroids, basically, and we're going to make it better. So don't look at it like, oh, I used to get GameFace for 3 hours a week. Now I'm getting it for an hour and a half. Look at it like you're still getting the 3 hours, except the other hour and a half is way better than it used to be. And there might be a slight delay between GameFace ending and then the deep dive for that particular game going up, but it shouldn't be more than like a day. Again, GameFace is our vehicle to, I believe, to success. on YouTube, Pactor Factor does better, but everywhere else, GameFace destroys Pactor Factor. And I don't know what the YouTube people's problem is for whatever reason. They like Pactor better, that's fine.
Most people on YouTube just go to yell.
Probably. I mean,
Pactor makes them angrier.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's why it's more popular.
You may be right. So, don't fret if you're used to GameFace being 3.5 hours. This episode may end up being 3 hours, by the way. The last one in this format, it may end up being a little longer. But don't fret because there's better stuff coming. Trust me, it's going to be much, much better. And GameFace is going to have an appeal to a much wider audience of people. Our segments are going to be tighter. Our evaluations of games are going to be tighter. It's going to be just a tidier package overall. So hope you guys are happy with that. But that's not the only changes coming to existing content. We were just talking about Pactor Factor, and Pactor Factor is also changing. So tomorrow will be the last episode of Pactor Factor as you know it. And it'll go up tomorrow, probably mid-afternoon. After that, Pactor Factor is going daily. There will be one topic per episode going forward. And some episodes are only going to be 5 or 6 minutes long. Some of them are going to be 15 or 20, depending on whatever strikes Pac's fancy. But again, it's just a more easily digestible way to get our content out there.
And don't forget Whiskey Wednesday.
Right, yeah. So basically, we're going to publish 4 episodes of Pactor Factor a week, 1 per day. We haven't decided whether we're going to take Monday off or Friday off. But you're going to get 4 pieces of Pactor Factor content per week. So it's just going to keep churning on through the machine. Now, look, nothing has changed as far as how we handle things on YouTube. There's still going to be the same week-long delay from when an episode of Pactor Factor goes on either our site or our Twitch channel where people can watch it with Twitch Prime, and when it goes on YouTube. There's going to be a week delay. That delay, the same delay we've been having with GameFace, is going to stay the same. We started putting up a couple promotional clips from GameFace on YouTube a little earlier, a couple weeks ago. But other than that, the huge chunk of the show is still going to have a huge delay before it ever makes it over to YouTube. And we'll start running SIFTD HQ and some of our other new content through YouTube as well. We'll see if that crowd likes that stuff. Maybe they will like a spoiler cast. And the other thing I should say about Spoiled is it's not just for TV shows and movies. Like when we finish a great game, we're going to record a spoiler cast for the game.
You Rise of Skywalker without me, huh?
No, you weren't. You were indisposed, unfortunately. Yeah. You're going to hate this episode, by the way. Next time I see you, you're going to let me have it. I guarantee it.
Why? Did you like it?
I do like it, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, Mitch kind of takes your fight for you in that one. But anyway, so we'll be doing games and other stuff in that as well. It's not just for TV shows and movies. It's a spoiler cast. And so anything that can have spoilers, we're going to tackle it in Spoiled. Let's see. Is there anything else I have for you guys? Before we move
Reminder
on.
to toss a coin to your sifter.
That would be nice, yeah. If you want to help us out, all this work we've been doing, head on over to patreon.com/sifted and please pledge. We would really appreciate it.
I think you should also record the extra scenes with Pactor, talking about Scotch forever, and just put them together as a separate show called Sloshed with no E.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
You just take the Spoiled logo but put a bottle in the eye.
I think he would be far more excited, actually, if he did a show about Scotch than if he did one about video games.
If you're doing culture.
That's just kind of where he's at this point.
At this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
It may have been that way for a little while now.
I know why he has the boat. So drink in peace.
That's right. So that's it. That's Sifted 2.0. It's a lot to digest. I totally get it. I haven't been able to look at the comments here on Twitch to see how you guys are feeling about it. But like I said, once this show is archived on the site, please share all your feedback, good or bad, on Sifted 2.0 down in the comments. We'll probably set up a thread in the forums where you guys can report bugs if you come across any. I've been checking it pretty hard, and I think we're pretty good. Everything seems pretty stable. Also, the mobile version has all this new functionality that I've talked about, and it works great. I was bumping around on that all night last night, waiting for stuff to render and things like that. Yeah, so I hope you guys like it. We've killed ourselves on this. It took a lot to get this done, especially for today. And I'm sure you guys saw the new open for GameFace, the new graphics for GameFace. We have a new close for GameFace. Sorry for the first run. It was a Right, we were having some technical issues, if you couldn't tell at the beginning of the show, but we're good to go now. So,
Oh, they heard. You didn't get that mic down that fast.
yeah. And somebody brought up something. Johnny Hurricane brought up something in the chat. He says that it was good to get all this out of the way before March, and that was the plan all along. Like, we had looked at the calendar. We saw January and February were basically dead, and I was like, man, that's when we got to go get it. It also worked out perfectly because Mitch came here about a month and a half ago, and I was able to start training him and kind of getting him up to speed on what we're doing. And so by the time everything was going to launch, we were able to do SIFTD HQ, and he did a great job on that. So all the timing has worked out. And I do see some comments in the chat. People are, we're not getting as much content. You are going to get way more content than you have ever got from SIFTD. Like double fold is my guess when it's all said and done. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. Even if you just wanted to add it up in minutes. But the time is going to be more. The quality is going to be higher. I wish we could have launched GameFace today the way we wanted to. And I'm not going to spoil it, but we have some technical issues that we have to work through to get it to work the way we want. So we're still back here. These are actually our old graphics still. GameFace is going to look completely different next week, provided we can get everything ironed out. But you did get to see the new intro. You will get to see the new outro when that runs. But there's still much more to come for GameFace as far as changes are concerned. So again, let us know any feedback that you have about the site or the new content changes. We are all ears, and we are open to criticism or praise if that's what you want to give us, which seems very rare on the internet in 2020, but we'll take it.